That is a problem.
Vendor is silent.
As if there's
Well,
no desktop audio, then they can't hear us, right?
How's that? We're in the money. I don't know what happened there. Haven't touched anything, but that's how audio works on PCs. You could walk away from it for 10,000 years and bury it, and everything would still change. Anyways, welcome to another lovely episode of Gamestack podcast right here on We Just Love Games Network. You are listening to episode 86, Corrected. I am your co-host, Vendertron. Joining us this evening is also Rick and Shalene. How are you guys doing? How's it going? Guys, we're doing a show here. We're doing a show. I think so. Is that what that was at the beginning of the... Okay. Fascinating. Mm-hmm. What? Where's that? Oh, people can't hear you guys?
Muted now?
Can you hear them now?
oh,
Oh
that's weird. We're
no.
coming through on the OBS, but why can't?
Oh no.
Don't tell me.
Why? That's very odd. Why?
Amazing minds.
Oh no, you're
though.
coming through now.
Amazing
What?
minds.
Oh no, you're coming through now. I don't know. You guys couldn't hear it. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Do we want to just? We're not gonna roll through that intro again, because I really people just want to listen to me anyway, so I could do the whole show by myself.
I'm just real confused on how in the world we dropped out.
This is
It's
so
totally
strange.
my end issue, and it's solved now. So let's do a show.
Okay.
We are sponsored by Oak and Crow Coffee. If you like coffee and you want to get a little Java jolt in your life, head right on over to www.oakandcrow.com for our new coffee blend. It's called the We Just Love Coffee blend. And it's a name which I cannot pronounce. Still working on that yet.
Dunga dunga.
Don't forget, every purchased bag of coffee, $2 goes to the Children's Miracle Network, and our coffee is now available on the Oak and Crow site for purchase. So head on over there to check that out. We also have some other things to mention. Rick, are you doing any streams in this coming weekend?
I don't
Gonna
know about.
do a Survival Horror Sunday?
Well, it's Mother's Day. I don't.
Oh
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's
don't think-
right.
I
We
don't
should
think
probably
Not.
spend time with our mothers
Yeah.
or something. Or,
Rick said, "You look like you're in
yeah.
pain."
I'll just. I got the Rona.
Yeah, I have to self-isolate for 10 days.
I have to quarantine. No, yeah. So this Sunday is probably out.
Okay. Well,
For the stream.
keep an eye on the Discord, because that's usually where we announce things that are happening. Guys,
it
can we
happens.
talk about vaccines for a minute? So I got my vaccine today.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
Yeah, I know, how
Congrats.
exciting. I wanted to ask you guys what that experience was like for you.
For me.
So
I was...
my point of talking about it on the show is for those listeners who are tuning in, who are a little bit afraid about getting a vaccine, who are second guessing themselves, or maybe thinking about not going through with it at all. And I just want to, help reassure people who are listening that vaccines are absolutely safe, and please do get your shot. But what was the experience for you like?
I had like a little bruise of like the Windows logo when I got the vaccine. No,
Rick, we're trying to do a thing.
no. When I got it, it was you go in, you get it. I got the Moderna version.
Yeah.
So they have you sit for like 10 or 15 minutes just to make sure you're not like flopping on the floor like a fish.
Yeah.
But that day my arm was a little sore, but like the next day was when I got hit worse with it, and I just felt groggy and tired, and it's like, because your body's working to try to fight this thing that's in there now, and my wife, she was on the couch pretty much all weekend, and that was just number one. So we're ready to get nailed by number two. We go for number two in 2 weeks.
Oh, that's good. How about you,
Mhm.
Shalene?
Well, I got the Pfizer. I've had both doses. When I got the first dose, I had some arm pain. And when I got home, I basically just went to sleep at like 6 o'clock and then woke up the next morning.
Oh, wow.
I was very sleepy.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't really have much in terms of discomfort. Just my arm was pretty sore
Mhm.
for a day or two.
Mhm.
But the second dose did hit a little bit harder. I had some mild symptoms, and then I had like a blood sugar spike that I think may have been
Yeah.
caused by the immune reaction.
Mhm.
And that was really the only major side effect for me.
Mhm.
I'm doing okay.
That might have been why you felt so tired too.
Yeah, probably.
It's because blood sugar.
The
Mm.
the thing though that I want to say, less than physically, the emotional side of things. This was probably the closest I'll ever feel to like what it would have been like to be in World War II, when you see all those like propaganda things like buy war
I
bombs,
did my part.
and like
Did
this was
my
like
part.
this really felt like I am helping society at this point. I am trying to push, I'm doing something that is actively trying to push us
Mhm.
forward
Mhm.
with getting us past this thing. And that's kind of what I want to put out to anyone who's a little afraid of it. Like, this is doing your part in a global scale
Mhm.
to move the ball forward a centimeter at a time to get us past this. And Pennsylvania right now stands at like, I think like 40% vaccinated.
It's awesome.
We're pretty red, and there's a lot. And I'm not picking on that
Like
sector, but there's a
politically
lot of,
red, you mean?
yes, yeah, and
Okay.
I'm not picking on that, but there's a lot of correlation to
Right.
political stance and vaccine use. And I just want to say that, like, you know, if we can get that to like, I think our governor said that if we can get to 70%, I feel he's like a
Mhm.
parent. Like, if you get 3 gold stars in school, we'll get you a Lego set. He's like, if we can get to 70% fully vaxxed, we'll lift the mask mandates. And I think we'll never get there. But so I think he's like setting the bar really high. It's just like, maybe
Yeah.
we can get us
Yeah.
there.
New Mexico is actually leading the nation in vaccines.
I
Oh,
noticed
I'm
that.
wow.
I
really
was
proud of
very
it.
Well, you've got like
impressed.
5 people that live in the state.
Shut up. They've all been vaccinated.
99% of
So-
people in New Mexico are
It's
vaccinated.
just
All
John.
16 of us. No, it's good. And if you feel as though you are you're just one person in a world of billions, and you feel so small and insignificant that what you do doesn't matter. It matters in this case. Getting your vaccine absolutely matters. I have had cases where people have tested positive and went on to infect 10, 12, 15 other people. Getting vaccinated prevents that from happening. And, those 15 other people could potentially infect multiple people.
Mhm.
And so we
And
need
maybe
to...
you're someone who's at a point in your life where you're very healthy and less likely to have severe complications. But what about those 15 other people?
Mhm.
You
And
know,
we're...
you
Yeah.
could hurt them
Mhm.
via your own.
Spittle.
It's not at this point, it's no longer about your ability to live freely. If you want to live freely, you need to get vaccinated. If we all want to live freely, we need to get vaccinated. And we can't do that until we all work together. So, and the vaccines, they are safe. There are risks with all vaccines. Flu shots, polio, smallpox, there was always risks. There always will be risks. Those complications are extremely rare, and they are far less than complications that you would have if you had tested positive and were infected with COVID-19. So you need to weigh the risks for yourself and make that personal decision. But vaccines are absolutely so important right now. And you can absolutely do your part. So it was really nice to see everybody in the Discord today talking about it and saying how happy they were that they got their vaccine or that they had booked and things like that. So it's really nice to see that. Anyways, on to a show. Host us on Twitch. Tell your friends. Tell grandma to tune in. We love to get more viewers in the chat and have you guys watch live. It's always nice. We do have some new people in the Discord. Shalene, did you want to take us through those?
Love to. First off, we have mental health resource bot Theodore. Theodore's a really nice fellow. He can give you some different resources. You can use him in our mental health channel in our
Peer
what's
support.
it called? Peer support channel. Theodore can give you resources if you are struggling. He also has a GIF. What's the command for the breathe GIF?
I think it's M ! Breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Or M.
And it gives you like a little prompt
Might
to
be
breathe
MH.
in and out in synchronization with the GIF. We've also got Lightning Strike 700, Flagogle 5150.
I think it's Flegogel.
Flegogel? Okay.
But I like Flagogle.
Flagogle. I think I'm gonna stick with Flagogle until I'm corrected by the person.
But
who
wait,
has that
if
name.
you act now, we'll throw in a second package of Flagogle.
I feel like Flagogle is like
Only
some kind of a
51.
traditional pastry.
Yeah.
Google.
Hey, you want some Flagogle?
You've never had a Flagogle? Oh my god.
It's amazing. There's a great Flagogle place around the corner.
We're gonna get an email, you guys.
The next one
name.
is Alien G13. And then we've got I'm Steady Clutchin' and
like that one.
T-Boy.
Excellent. Welcome all new people.
I feel like I'm Steady Clutching is like an old school screen name from like Xbox days.
Just
like it. It
clinging
feels like
on
it.
to it for life.
Yeah.
How can people join the Discord?
You can join our Discord by clicking on the Discord link right below this screen if you're watching live on Twitch. That link is available whether or not we are live. It's always on our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/WeJustLoveGames. Alternately, you can just shoot us a message on social media and we will get you an invite to our Discord.
Wonderful. Well, we've got some news to talk about. Games stock segment. We also have a little bit of a special segment that we kind of threw together for you listeners. And I'm going to take you guys through a pretty neat game science segment. And then we're going to top things off with our gameplay. But first, this just in. Do you guys have any older family members that play video games?
No.
Well, yes, we have discussed in the past that I have played games with my mom.
Isn't that great?
So,
How is
she
that?
loves video games. It's wonderful. We've played Minecraft together and Halo, Fable. Let's see. We play, of course, Animal Crossing together pretty much on a daily basis. And she plays a lot of real-time strategy games on her iPad. She loves them. She's very deeply invested in some real-time strategy MMOs.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Well-
she'll spend like 8 hours doing raids.
Oh
on
my god,
those.
she's
It's
an
amazing.
addict. Maybe you need to have an intervention.
Mhm.
Well, this article that was slapped on our desk early this morning from the Guardian talks about how gaming has really sort of transformed through the pandemic. Before COVID-19 really threw a wrench into normal life and confined many people to their homes, a lot of older demographics weren't really involved with video games all that much. But since the pandemic has started, a group called Ofcom found that 62% of UK adults played some form of video games in 2020. And another research firm called Global Web Index found that the 55 to 64 age group was the fastest growing market, rising by almost a third, 32%, since 2018. This gaming increase was suspected to be attributed to increased family time. So, you know, a lot of the kids are playing video games. What are the parents going to do? Well, let's join in with the kids. Suddenly, dad is up at 2 a.m. in the morning playing Animal Crossing because he can't put down the Switch, and he's fighting for it with the kids. And now Rick has 6 of them and a VR set. And
6 what? Switches or kids?
well, I don't know.
Van Sylvan says dad needs a hobby. He just found one, Van Sylvan.
Yeah, and so this personal anecdote in this article comes from Paul Cliff, who managed to get himself hooked on Animal Crossing. He was helping his 7-year-old daughter, Romy, set up the Nintendo Switch that she got for Christmas, and he said, I've somehow played over 600 hours on it since January. Paul is a 56-year-old male, and he is absolutely fascinated with Animal Crossing. He says, I love collecting in it. It's so gentle and oddly rewarding. And he goes on to say that she couldn't wait to show me, this is his daughter, couldn't wait to show him. And he's been amazed with their achievements in working through the game together. He finds it incredibly immersive and a relaxing experience, and he says, and I quote, I love the wee islands. It's a wonderful escape from what's going on outside our 4 walls. I imagine him saying that in an Irish accent or Scottish accent.
Same.
Do you think we're gonna get games now like targeted towards like adults, like a Bethesda Fallout New Vegas spinoff called like Baby Boomers?
Probably.
And it's just like, you know, you're an old person who's a part of the boomer faction.
Yeah.
Or
well,
like, you know,
Professor James Newman of some university that this article failed to mention says that video games have been an important source of help many during the difficult periods of restricted movement. You know, I think part of being involved in video games is those relationships that you form. And you know, another physician is at Abertay University in the UK says what we're seeing is a lot of parents and grandparents are actually being taught by their children and grandchildren to keep in touch. And this gathering around a common interest creates quality intergenerational interactions and connections even at a distance. And so video games have really sort of opened up this new social paradigm within families and within friends and other networks as well. Many people are finding that games aren't really what they thought they were, and they're seeing different types of games that they can connect with now. They're not the traditional side-scrolling 2D universe that we're so used to or that we grew up with. And so it's kind of an eye-opener for some of these older demographics. Another person who offered up their anecdotes for this article, Jane Boone, said that she developed her new hobby after her son moved home from university last March, and she asked him to teach her how to play. And she says, I'd always thought it looked fun, and it was something we could do during the lockdown. And Jane is 62 years old. She says, I was useless, but I persevered, she says, for her first try at action-adventure game Hollow Knight. I don't think that if you're 62...
Hollow Knight is pretty hardcore.
Jane, I would like to say, at 62, you are not useless. Don't think that.
No,
before long, she was playing through the game entirely by herself, and she kept playing on her son's old Xbox when he went back to university. So, she has since moved on to Zelda: Breath of the Wild, and yeah, there's a lot of other anecdotes in this article that I won't sort of go into. But what do you guys think about, you know, this older demographic stepping in or stepping back into video games?
We've won is all I can say.
We've won.
We spent our childhood was like, don't sit too close to the TV.
Yeah,
you gotta
yeah.
play an hour before you have.
Now you have VR glasses like right there.
Yeah. And now it's like our parents are finally playing. We're like, see, we told you this entire time. These are fun.
I hope that it does help reduce the stigma, because that stigma against video games still exists. You know, the same people that will binge 2 seasons of a show on Netflix all at once, or spend 6 hours watching a sports ball
The
game
Weather
of
Network?
some kind.
Wait, do you guys have the Weather Network?
We have
Um,
Weather Channel. Yeah, we have the
I
Weather
don't have
Channel.
cable, so no.
But these same people
My
are
Weather
very
Channel's my
critical of
window.
gaming very frequently.
Say that
And
again, Shalene. Sorry.
people tend to be very critical of gaming that
Yes.
who enjoy these things, see no problem with vegging out on the couch with the TV.
Mm-hmm.
They do feel like gaming is somehow it's somehow more damaging,
Mm-hmm.
and that's absolutely not the case. It's a lovely hobby that actually you have to engage with, which in my opinion
Mm-hmm.
elevates it above television and movies and watching sports.
Part of me thinks that this was an inevitable thing that is going to happen regardless of a pandemic, because the old sort of traditional way of video game development was very single player focused. And then we moved into MMOs, and then we moved into more co-op and MMOs, I should say. And now we're in these very complex online universes where people come and go, and it's very busy, and there's these whole seems like a whole other life placed inside of a single character that is so interactive and so immersive. And I think that that's what has brought people in and formed those relationships with friends and family. And I think the pandemic has kind of helped catalyze that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like you said, it's inevitable because as technology progresses, I mean, we're like the children of the '80s are kind of like the technological children.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be more adept at technology than their parents were, and we're going to be more adept at technology than our parents are, and so on and so forth. And it's just as the generation wave moves forward, it just makes sense that older people are going to play games, just because the people who started playing games in the '60s and '70s with Pong, are just older now anyway. So they had just been playing games their entire lives. So it's just going to get to a point where it's normal because they grew up playing games, and then
Yeah.
their kids are going to grow up playing games, and and it's
Well,
some new technology is going to come along where us video gamers are going to be like, what are you newfangled whatever,
How do I
and then
jump?
yeah, it's like, well, you jump,
You just jump. I don't know.
uh, so yeah, I mean, it's just like the age progression. Just like people who first got their Betamax and VCRs, their parents were like, when we were kids, we couldn't watch reruns or tape, and like it's the same thing. So it's just a
Remember?
natural
Do you
progression.
remember when you had to break the tab off the VHS tape to prevent people from recording over it?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I had a '57 Chevy VHS rewinder, so you would take the thing out and put it in there, and it would rewind it for. That's all it
Yes.
did was just
Yeah,
rewind.
it just
rewind
rewinded.
tapes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's we had our VCR did both. It rewound and fast forwarded.
Well, we
So
had
it was
our VCR
the
did
little
both
plastic
too, but
there was like this like panel, right? And then on
Uh-huh.
on the far side there was this little plastic door that you would just pop down, and there was all these weird switches that nobody ever touched because we didn't know what they did. But eventually the door went missing. So it was just like anyways.
tracking.
Yeah, I think that the pandemic has certain silver linings for sure. Like Carlo and I, my partner Carlo and I, we started playing video games together, which has never happened in the 10 years that we've been together.
Oh wow.
And I it's not something that we ever really thought about because he just never was interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
But
you
we
go out
live
and do stuff.
we live in two separate households, and how are we going to spend more time together? So Sea of Thieves and Ark and all these other games came into the fold, and it's really, really nice.
Nice.
The gaming industry, though, is targeting these people as well. Retailers have found new successful ways to target these older demographics. We've seen a surge of new gamers across all demographics, particularly after the last 12 months with enforced lockdowns and many people having to remain home and work remotely and try to find other methods of escapism. In 2020, there were 2.69 billion active video game players worldwide. The result is that traditional gamers have actually been transformed. So in 2014, one of the studies had in this article by Abby Cooper in the Drum, pointed out that 73% of gamers were young adults aged between 16 and 24, but the average age of the gamer today is around 35 years, which is unsurprising to us. But we're also beginning to see a greater increase in female video game players, as well as those people who are aged 50 and up. This is a new age range of gamers that have significantly increased within the last year. And, we suspect that another fundamental change to the market is this rise in female gamership, as well as a 45% increase in European gamers, which are female, and who account for nearly 41% of all gamers. Or women actually account for 41% of all gamers in the United States. Now, I would like to point out that this article has one flaw, is in that they mix and match statistics, and they talk about females and women. And sex and gender are not the same thing. Biological sex being male, female, gender being everything else. So, so this might be a little bit inaccurate. But retailers are targeting these new gamers, and the market is growing for the purposes of being able to look at expanding this player base. What do you guys think about? Like, so to give you an example, big name brands like Puma have embraced esports. Partnering with other organizations. Louis Vuitton has unveiled a collaboration with Riot Games for the League of Legends World Championship in 2019. Social media has also become a new frontier for gaming. Advertising within games on Facebook, Facebook communities around gaming that has certainly targeted older crowds, and of course, the integration of Facebook games and their strategic marketing, where consumers don't even realize that they're being sold video games. So, Rick, sounds like you've got a thought there.
Well, I was just thinking the first game that I really remember doing this was, I think, Burnout Paradise, where the billboards, like, when Obama, I think, was running for the first or second term, they put those political billboards in the video game on the billboards, and like other advertisers. I don't know if it maybe it works. I think the Call of Duty Monster Energy thing or whatever, who's
the shampoo, the Xbox shampoo,
like the energy drink, like
the monster drink in Death Stranding really cracked me up. It was so out of place.
I don't know if that actually sells anything. Maybe in sports games, because that target audience is a little different. I would imagine, not to disparage it, but I would imagine that they're more prone to in-game advertisements. But for like those of us playing FPSs, like, could you imagine, like if you're playing Red Dead Redemption 2 and you make your camp and you sit down to make coffee, and then your character turns to your screen and goes, "Folgers, the best part of waking up."
Have you
and then
played
like goes
Red
back
Dead?
to and so like I feel like if it gets to that level of breaking the fourth wall where your character is like running from bullets, and it's like, when I'm running from the bad guys, I prefer short stack body armor, and it's just like, what? If they start breaking the fourth wall in that regard, that's going to be a little off-putting. But I don't the in-game advertisements have nothing, they have no effect on me. Like advertisements in general don't. So I mean, I think
really want to buy the jacket from the Medium.
Okay, but see, like, that's not even a retailer.
It's not a thing.
Yeah,
it's not a thing.
But
like, I would buy that. So, like, if it can, I guess it could work if they did it right.
Yeah, but
like,
they would be marketing something that you've already liked that was an accident. It's not like they're putting their product in the game to try to sell it. I feel like if a company makes something cool and we see it, like that's why that's why Bethesda makes all those plushies, because people like it in the game and they're like, oh, we could market this, and then it just turns into a marketing thing. But like in the 80s, do you remember when like they would make cartoons to sell toys?
Yes.
Like He-Man, and it didn't work. Not really. That's kind of what I mean. Like it if they make stuff based off the games that work, that's different than if they make stuff to put in the games to sell.
Yeah,
I don't think it works that way.
For me personally, to see real world examples in my video games is a form of realism, and immersion. But
Yeah.
I'm not sold. Like if I'm driving in Euro Truck Sim or American Truck Sim and I drive past a McDonald's, I'm like, oh cool, a McDonald's. That's
Yeah,
neat.
you're not like, I want a McDonald's.
Like in Farm Sim 19, we have a Tim Hortons on our map. You can go through the drive-through and there's like the whole menu is there. It's awesome. Doesn't mean I'm going to go to Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
I mean, that coffee tastes like it already went through you once.
But the reversal of that, and what I think is actually where the money is like, if you're playing a game like the Medium and you see the jacket, you're like, man, if they made that jacket, I would buy it. And then
Yeah.
someone makes the jacket, you will then sell more
Mhm.
because it's something that's cool that someone likes in a video game. I don't think the inverse, like you were saying, Vendor, I don't think having a Tim Hortons in a game makes people want Tim Hortons more.
No, exactly.
I think though the benefit there is the idea that like it puts it in your head. So when you pass a Tim Hortons in real life, you're like, oh, I passed that in Farm Sim, and maybe you're a little more likely to go there. But I would say that where the money is better spent is figure out what's trending of what people like in the game, like lady, domestic, whatever, and then make a real doll of it. You know, like make a 9-foot. Oh gosh, no. I said it. It's going to come into the world, a 9-foot tall real doll.
Hey, I mean, that's what mods are for.
Ooh.
That's what mods are for.
Oh, there's already triple X mods of Resident Evil 7. So it took what? Less than a day?
Yeah. Shalene, you look like you're going to say something.
What about a Lady Dimitrescu makeup line?
Oh, it's just all white. It's just all pale. Different shades of vampire pale and gray.
Exactly.
It would work. I'm telling you, I could make it work.
But see,
Oh,
perfect
man.
example right there. When a game puts out a makeup line that didn't exist in the game, you're going to buy it because
Right.
of the game. That kind of marketing, I think, works.
Yeah.
Right. I've bought multiple makeup collaborations, like the Animal Crossing. There have been 2 Tetris collections that I've purchased.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing works.
Well, I mean, if I look at this cabinet next to me, I've got like 15 Fallout bobbleheads.
Mhm.
Because there was a time when I played Fallout and it was like, man, it would be so cool to get these bobbleheads in real life and like collect them all and have a little stand and stuff. And then it happened. And then I was like $300 in the hole with bobbleheads. Like, yeah.
But like gamers are cynical, generally speaking. So if we see like an advertisement for Pepsi, it's more likely to just annoy us. Like, ugh, really? Like, I think so. I mean, that's how I would approach it as a marketing
Well,
guy. But then again,
I don't know. I'm that way in movies. Because when I see like a Dodge Ram and like the front logo is taken off, so
like,
they try to make
oh.
it look like it's not a Dodge, but you know it's a Dodge. You're like, really?
Doge,
Really?
a Doge goat.
Yeah.
You're like, really?
Yeah. So
Nice
Like,
try.
we were talking about on that Fallout show last week. We were talking about the Power Patrol being non-copyright
Yes.
infringing GI Joes.
yeah, exactly.
It was fun in like the GoldenEye days when you would try to figure out the inverse of like whatever the gun is, like a KA-57, it's like an AK-47. The
Mhm.
RCP-90 is a P90.
Yeah.
So it's just, yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think people are always going to try to make money off video games any way they can. In-game advertising is certainly something that is going to be more prevalent. I hope it doesn't become like just real awful. You know what I mean? Like I hope
Yeah.
it, you know, like every loading screen is an ad.
Here's one. What about when they put DLC on products, like codes for DLC? Like you can buy
Ooh.
a soda or a bag of Doritos and get double XP in Call of Duty. Or
That's
like
fine.
I bought a box of Oreos for my office one time because the package had a code for Sea of Thieves stuff on it.
That's right, you did.
Yeah, and I had that Obsidian stuff, and you guys were
I
jealous.
I think that's fine because, like, I mean, when we were kids, you would buy the box of cereal for the toy that you could only get in the box. So, I mean, like,
Mhm.
you know, you'd send in box tops to get a toy or something like that. I think that's fine. That's just fun and silly.
I'm gonna play devil's.
But that
I'm
kind
gonna
of
be
thing
the,
works. I wouldn't have bought those Oreos
You know
if it
that
hadn't been for Sea of
you know
Thieves.
on American Idol when Simon, everybody hates Simon. I'm gonna play the devil's advocate here and say from a public health perspective, I don't think in coercive things like that should be placed on products that are contributing to obesity.
Oh, I
and
see what you're
chronic
saying. But like
disease.
that's always
But
been like Cracker Jacks. I mean, like
well,
it
because
was
the
always...
demographic of people more likely to buy those products are kids and younger adults, and that's the demographic that we need to target to prevent that from happening.
Look at you taking the high road.
Well, I'm just ingrained in public health.
Could you imagine if they're like double XP weekend if you buy this bag of kale?
Yes, that's what they need to do.
It would never work.
Bunch of
You
bananas.
know what might work though is like carrot sticks. Who doesn't like carrot sticks?
All the things in the produce aisle. It's like, you buy a bunch of bananas, you get a little code for 1,000, caps in Fallout 76 or something.
1,000 caps for 3 pounds of plantains.
Suddenly the whole country is out of bananas because Rick went to every freaking Kroger.
Hate bananas.
Or maybe like juice instead of sodas. You could go for like 100% juice.
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
Oh, cranberry
They
juice.
could partner with like Minute Maid.
Prunes. Hey, if we're targeting older gamers, there you go. Animal Crossing stuff on prunes and on and 100% brand.
Polydent. You just put it on the
Polydent.
There go all of our older listeners. Thanks,
we
guys.
are definitely
They're
starting
asleep by 9 anyway.
We're starting to see these new innovations and these new industry relationships that are popping up. This new article by BBC News, written by Christina Criddle, talks about Sony's PlayStation to integrate Discord chat for gamers. Have you guys heard about this?
I have.
So Sony... Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, I can't tell if this is retaliation or if it was already on the table.
I love it. Microsoft is like seething over there in the corner, and Sony's like, yeah, well, you should have just let them come to you. Sony plans to integrate the popular online chat platform Discord, which we all know and love, into its PlayStation Network by 2022. The electronics giant has invested in the app and now holds a minority stake in the company, which is pretty awesome. As we know, Discord currently has more than 140 million gamers each month come through its platform, mainly on PC and mobile devices. It makes up the bulk of the ability for our community to communicate, and it is a great resource to connect people. The Sony president and chief executive Jim Ryan says, "We're constantly looking for new ways to enable players around the world to connect with one another, from new friendships and communities, and share fun experiences and lasting memories. Our goal is to bring the Discord and PlayStation experiences closer together on console and mobile starting early next year, allowing friends, groups, and communities to hang out, have fun, and communicate more easily while playing games together." The two firms are actually already working on this integration, and Discord, has retweeted Sony's partnership tweet. And of course, this news comes just 2 weeks after Discord rejected the $12 billion offer from Microsoft to buy the company, which is a little bit awesome. I love that. But
good timing.
According to Bloomberg, the messaging platform turned down the deal to focus on potential public listings in the future. And we have talked about this on previous episodes of Gamestack, telling our listeners to keep an eye out for an IPO for Discord. But the mobile gaming expert Matthew Gribben says Microsoft's Sony's only real rival in the console space has potentially massively dropped the ball by letting Discord get away, and now to be tightly integrated into PlayStation ecosystem. So I think that this partnership is a wonderful, wonderful marriage because I am a PlayStation user and I absolutely support Sony. And I have some gripes with Microsoft, but if you're unfamiliar with what Discord is, it was launched in 2015. It's a free service that actually allows gamers, and I would argue all people, to chat over video, audio calls, or text messages. and has gained increasing popularity in recent years, especially because of titles such as Fortnite, Among Us, and Minecraft. But I've been using Discord since its launch in 2015, and we have used it to coordinate everything that we do regarding the podcast and our community. And I have played games with people on Discord calls since that time, and it works actually pretty good. The app, as we know, is already available on Xbox One, Xbox Series S, Series X, and can be downloaded on PCs and smartphones. Smartphones. That's what you get after the vaccine. um, at the University of Central Lancashire, Sam Connolly mentions adding the PS5 to a list of supported platforms is a crucial step forward as it provides a common medium for communication, one of the primary uses faced by cross-platform multiplayers. So, the cross-play aspect of it is certainly going to be important, but how do you guys feel about Discord sort of joining up with Sony?
I mean, I think it's great. I do like to giggle at when Sony's like, we like to connect players, yet we never do crossplay. And
Yeah.
so they like, I feel like when they finally get past that little hurdle of like doing some crossplay, like then it would really open up. But I mean, that I think it's a good move.
What do you think, Shalene?
I don't have a ton of thoughts about it, actually. I mean, I think it's fine. I don't think it will affect me tremendously. I don't do much multiplayer on PlayStation platforms. I mostly use my PlayStation for single player exclusives. So.
Yeah. So this article goes on to talk about how this new partnership will be more supportive of crossplay, and people using different devices such as console and computer, etc. But we don't really know too much at this point, and I think that it's going to take some time for us to see how this kind of plays out. But Sony's senior director of developer relations, Gio Corsi, said at this time, cross-platform play is not a slam dunk, no matter the size of the title. But as you know, many companies are exploring this idea, and not a single one can explain how cross-console play improves the PlayStation business. So it sounds like there's a little bit of reluctancy there. But can't we all just get along? I don't know.
Now, how else are we gonna have console wars if we get along?
Console wars. Oh, speaking of console wars, and more things on Sony, this article by VGC talks about the PS5 redesign, which is scheduled to enter production, in 2022. According to Taiwanese business website Digitimes, have claimed that the suppliers, including the semiconductor foundry TSMC, are planning to start producing the redesigned PS5 console between the second and third quarters of next year.
Redesign? Like, why are they
like a PS5 Plus, or like how the second gen, right?
Yeah, I feel like that's a little soon to be talking about a redesign when there's still not enough supply of the original.
Are you sure they're not
device.
Are you sure they're not just redesigning it for another chip that's more readily available?
So, as noted, Canton Games analyst Dr. Sirkin Toto of Digitimes supply chain sources said that the redesign of the PS5 will come with a new semi-customized 6nm CPU from AMD. But it's also likely that the redesign is purely component focused and won't really feature any significant external changes. So, Sony has recently said that it's unlikely that the supplies of the PS5 consoles will drastically improve in its current fiscal year, which ends March 31st, 2022. But Sony CFO Hiroki Totoki said that the company was considering various solutions to help it cope with the global shortage of hardware components, including altering hardware designs or sourcing secondary suppliers. So it's not so much a redesign, but more so a pandemic console. So
interesting.
Those might be rare. This might be a rare production thing that's happening with Sony. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, hopefully,
We'll see what
hopefully they can
happens.
figure out how to increase demand,
Yeah, right? Anyways.
or not demand, supply. The demand is high, the supply is low. So
Yeah, like lumber. Oh my god.
yeah, apparently lumber is crazy. Lumber's the new gold.
Lumber is they're stealing it here from
Oh,
construction sites. Like
jeez.
you get the lumber shipment for the houses. These
Yeah.
guys, they come, well, not guys, these people, they come into these construction sites and they just load up the lumber and leave in the middle of the night. It's crazy.
Like
Anyways,
I like how people is more derogatory than
well,
not
I
these guys.
I don't
These
want to
people.
generalize to a sex, but
um, but I saw a picture on Reddit. Somebody took a photo in Home Depot of like the lumber section. They were like, "Oh, look, I got a tour of Fort Knox."
yeah. I
Just two
built
by fours.
I built a small set of 3 large grow boxes for my parents. It's actually a Mother's Day gift. It was $300,
Ooh,
and I
It
just
looked great though. They turned out really well.
it was just like a couple of 1x6s and some 2x4s. Like what?
jeez,
It was
that's
wild.
expensive.
Cedar here for a single 1x6 is $28 Canadian. 1x6x8, which
That's
is
a lot. That's
yeah,
a lot.
it's $28 for one board, and I needed 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 of them for these. Anyways, on the topic of companies doing good things, Nintendo has announced their Game Builder Garage for aspiring programmers. Are you guys familiar with this?
No.
Not a bit.
So on June 11th to Switch for $30, you can have access to different ways to design games. You probably heard of Dreams on PS4. Game Builder Garage is kind of similar to this, but it looks at a more beginner-friendly take on the program genre of video games. And of course, distinctly Nintendo, right? So Nintendo executive Nick Chavez says, for anyone who has always wanted to make their own video games, Game Builder Garage is the perfect place to start. Through the use of guided lessons and memorable note-on characters, Game Builder Garage helps creating video games just as much fun as playing them. So they'll have 2 modes. One is a lesson mode that is a guided tutorial that walks you through the process of designing 7 predefined games. And this includes, tag, racing game, a maze game, various motion controls, and things like that. And then there's a free programming mode, which actually lets you run wild. It's sort of a, the creative mode of creativeness in video games. And it aims to take the skills that you've learned in that first tutorial and apply it in a more loose and free setting. So the toolbox itself, I think, is going to have some pretty basic stuff, like assigning controls to the directional pad and customizing certain obstacles and things like that. It'll be a lot like Super Mario Maker, which you can share your creations locally over the internet, or you can check out other people's games as well. Yeah, I wonder how do you think that this plays in terms of intellectual property? Like if somebody develops some really wicked game that is super simple but awesome, like Among Us, for example, that costs $4 on Steam. If they create this with this and they make, say, millions, what happens? Does Nintendo have some rights to that?
I mean, can they sell it?
I don't know.
I don't know. Who knows? I mean, it doesn't sound like. I mean, I don't know. I don't know enough about it.
I feel like Don Lemon asking inquisitive questions on CNN. Were they really there? Does this really matter? Anyways, Shalene, what do you think? Are you going to make some games on your Switch?
Absolutely not. I don't have time to play games, let alone make them.
Yeah. Well, that's that news article. The next one. Microsoft doing things as well as Nintendo and Sony, except they're saying that they have never made a profit from the sale of an Xbox console. And so I don't really know the details about this story, but Vice President Lori Wright of Xbox Business Development um, basically said, you know, we don't sell, or they don't. They sell the consoles at a loss,
Mm-hmm.
but the hardware is what is unprofitable. Um, if we look at the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S, which are also being sold at a loss right now, they will become profitable likely down the line. But just to backtrack here, so I'm really unfamiliar with this story. So basically, what has happened is that Xbox confirmed in a court case on Wednesday of this week that they have never made a profit from the sale of an Xbox console. And this business model has been the norm for console makers, traditionally selling devices at a loss but making money from the software and the services that are available for hardware. You know, Epic versus Apple trial also brings in a public perspective on the type of information that companies would rather keep under wraps. As you can imagine, people will form a lot of different opinions about this, especially the general public. But the you know, if we look at the PS4, this is, you know, a console that was probably Sony's first console that was somewhat, you know, profitable. But I think that, you know, if we look at the different perspectives of different people on Twitter, you know, Daniel Ahmad says, you know, going by the redacted court documents as part of the Epic versus Apple case, Microsoft is one of the gaming companies that generates $1 billion plus in profit from its software and services segment within gaming. Microsoft has also documented that they have broken down the hardware revenue versus profit estimates for Sony and Nintendo, and shown that they're generating a loss, but profit for Nintendo and a loss for Sony. I'm not necessarily sure how this works or what this really means, because I'm not generally a console purchaser, but do you guys have some more insight on this?
Well, I think that's really why you see consoles as being an affordable alternative to PCs, because they're not making a profit on them. They want to make a profit on other things, the games, the services, et cetera, et cetera. I really think that's why you see consoles being sold at a more affordable price,
Right.
because a lot of the parts in there are pretty similar to what you find in a PC.
Right. Good point.
And it's, you know, there's another tweet from Daniel Mob that says that, you know, Sony, the estimates that Sony had 4.1 billion of software and services, both sold. But it's a loss of 1.7 billion in hardware sales, so it's an overall of 2.3 billion that they made. So they, you know, it's really interesting that they do this to keep it affordable. It's interesting because you would think that they'd be like, oh nope, gotta afford our awesome software or hardware now. So.
When you're dealing with that much money, it's not nickel and dimes, it's bucket chemistry. Like, yeah, you're just like, meh, it's fine. Yeah, we don't have to. We can still pay everyone and give our executives huge bonuses. It's fine.
So, the first console I ever heard of this happening with was with the PlayStation 3. And I remember that was kind of news where, like, oh, they cost some crazy amount to make and they're only selling it for $4.99 or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember that being like, oh, that's crazy. I didn't realize it was a thing. So, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, our last news article is more dessert for you guys. This is a Kotaku article by Mike Fahey, and the 2021 World Video Game Hall of Fame inductees have been announced. So, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this, but the Strong National Museum of Play in Rochester, New York, receives thousands of submissions for entry into its World Video Game Hall of Fame each year. Out of those initial submissions, 3 games are voted on by the public, and are placed on one ballot, while the rest are chosen by members of an international selection advisory committee, which is made up of journalists and scholars, etc., familiar with the video game industry. This year's 12 finalists included the football game Mattel, Midway's Tron, the first movie licensed arcade game, and plain vanilla Call of Duty as well. Final voting is now complete, and 4 iconic games are left standing. The first of which is Microsoft Flight Simulator, Edutainment Pioneer, Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, StarCraft, and Animal Crossing. These are the selections for the 2021 World Video Game Hall of Fame. And they join the ranks of former inductees, including Bejeweled, The Oregon Trail, Mortal Kombat, and Pong. So
Bejeweled.
I thought that was kind of fun. This, I think that we should form a society and, choose, the Nobel Prize winner of video games, you know? Just a totally ridiculous society name that nobody has ever heard of, the Broken Controller Cord Society, and we just choose a Nobel Prize winner, except it won't be called Nobel Prize. It'll be yeah. Anyways, that's the news.
Okay. I've never played any 4 of those games.
Well, Microsoft Flight
Never
Sim
have.
absolutely needs to be in there because it's been out for decades.
Yeah, it's been
This
out.
game has
for
been
a
redeveloped
very
and
long time.
redeveloped so many times over, and they broke barriers this past year. Anyways,
I like
let's
how
talk.
real quick. I like how on the box it says for IBM, PC, and PC Junior.
Yeah, let's talk stocks. What's going on in the stock market today, Rick?
Well, we've got Sony sitting pretty at 97.03, down 4 cents. We have Microsoft at $252.46. That is up $2.73. Nintendo ended at 68. Oh, they were so close. The Nintendo's sitting at 68.99. Man, they just needed 1 penny. They're up by $1.02. Take-Two is sitting at 170.07, which is up $1.43. Activision is sitting at 94.80, which is up $1.77. Ubisoft is at 62.82, up $1.94. EA $142.42, up $1.08. Tencent is down at 16.07, down 23 cents.
And that's as of 4 p.m. today.
Okay. Do we
Yes.
want to just roll over this since we have
sure.
a bunch of stuff left? Okay.
Sure, if you want. So that brings us into our special segment, which I thought we could spend a few moments having an open discussion about our favorite gentle beasts in video games. So what do you guys think? What are some of your favorite video game beastly, ghastly, gruesome characters that appear very frightening and scary on the outside, but on the inside, they're really just warm. You know, they're very friendly and loving. The first one I want to start off with is Tabitha from Fallout New Vegas, because she's just fabulous, first of all.
Excellent choice.
Yeah.
I will chime in with Fox from Fallout 3.
Yes.
Who's an extremely intimidating and scary fellow, but he's very well read. You know, it's a very kind soul. I love him.
And what about Milk of Human Kindness? Who's that?
Strong is his name, and I don't know about
gentle.
This is for gentle beasts.
Okay.
What about Harold?
Harold, that was
The
Harold the
tree.
Tree. Yeah.
Oh.
That was another one that was on my list as well.
Okay.
For me, the first Colossus in Shadow of Colossus.
Okay.
Because it's before you realize that most of the Colossi are peaceful. And you climb up this cliffside, and like your first introduction to the first Colossus is like you're looking up at this 70-foot tall like giant walking around with birds flying around him, and he turns and looks at you and just turns and like walks away because he's like, oh, it's a tiny little thing. And yeah, it's just a gentle giant because like he only attacks you when you attack him, yeah, it's just really really cool thing.
Yeah, yeah. Cephalon Kiwi in the chat says, "Don't forget Strong."
I wouldn't count Strong.
I feel like, yeah, Strong is not a great guy.
Chat's on the fence about Strong.
But Airy Twitch brings up Graham
Mhm.
from Fallout 76, who loves Challie. And I think Graham is a very appropriate choice.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else would be like a gentle.
What about Parthenax?
Oh yeah, yeah, that would work.
Parthenax. Where's?
Yeah, the
Skyrim.
dragon.
Oh, yeah.
On the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say that works. You know, it's interesting. There isn't like a lot of
I'm
like
trying to think back through all the
Hunchback of
games that
Notre
I've
Dame
played.
esque, you know, anti-heroes almost.
Yeah, yeah.
But
My horse Seabrisket in Red Dead Redemption is a saint.
Seabrisket.
Yeah, I named him Seabrisket.
That's lovely. That's just lovely.
He's a champ. He goes everywhere with me.
Ooh! The world serpent in God of War 3.
That was also on my list.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Nice. Yeah.
What else?
I remember.
Go
I
ahead.
remember that intro. I was gonna say I remember that introduction, and that was the coolest thing ever.
Oh, it was amazing. That was an amazing moment.
What else you got on that list, Shalene?
Let's see. This one's not quite so monstrous, but I'm gonna go with Chester from Don't Starve. Chester is a little chest that you can
Okay.
find, but he's also alive.
Yeah.
He has, you know, he's a sentient being, and he has little monster teeth and a little monster tongue and little hair. And he's decidedly a small monster, but he's very adorable, and he follows you around and carries your stuff.
Yeah. What about that dog from Fallout 3, Brain? No, he had the brain.
Wait, the dog
From New
with the-
Vegas, you mean?
Is it-
Rex?
Rex. Yeah. He was
Well-
kind of ghastly, but he was cute because he was a dog. So
Speaking
He's a
of
good
that,
dog.
speaking of that name, Mass Effect, Rex,
oh,
and Leviathan from Mass Effect as well.
See, you guys are like encyclopedias. It's
Yeah.
great. I
Mhm.
love it.
What was the clone's Krogan? Because that's another one. But basically both
Uh,
are Krogans. I can't remember his name. After we
Oh, I
were...
forgot. Grunt?
Yes, Grunt.
Yes.
Yeah, he's also. He fits in the gentle beast kind of category.
yeah.
He's gentle to shepherd, nobody else.
Mhm.
I love
So
it.
your list, Shalene?
Yeah, that's pretty much all I had. I'm trying to think of what else
Mhm.
there is. I feel like I'm missing some obvious things.
We probably are. Cephalon Kiwi says the 3 Eidolons from Warframe. They have no interest in you until you start poking them, and they sound like space whales. And yes, the clone Krogan is Grunt. Those two are definitely Rex and Grunt, in my opinion, are in that gentle beast, at least towards shepherd.
Yeah.
Especially Rex.
Love it.
Rex is great. So this is a cool subject.
Yeah. Any others that come to mind? I mean, for me personally, my rock golem from Ark, his name was Frank. He never hurt a single soul after I hit him with that rocket. So
That works. Yeah.
yeah,
I can't. Yeah, I
that's
can't
how you
do
tame
That's
them,
another
anyway.
one that I thought of just a few minutes ago is a bit of a rock golem type creature from Dragon Age Origins, and I can't remember her name. Shale. Her name was Shale.
Okay.
And she's definitely a little bit much, but I love her. She's wonderful. She hates pigeons.
Okay.
That's odd.
Because they poop on her, because she's rock.
Oh.
Speaking of that, what about the that troll in Witcher 3 where he's defending like did you ever find that troll? He's defending this fort and he's like, "Human, tell me stay here." Oh, what was he? He like it was so funny. You find I can't even remember what type of beast he was, but he was this beast where the soldiers tricked him into like guarding this outpost, and he's so dumb that he won't do anything else. But he's
Oh,
such a goofy little saint that he's like, and he feels so important that he's defending, and there's like dead bodies
guy.
everywhere, and there's nothing there, and he's like, and I forget you have to go do something for him. It's been so long, but yeah, that guy, whatever he was, I can't remember. I think he was a troll or something in that game.
Oh man. Anything
Witcher
from
3.
BioShock?
Well, I think the big daddies would definitely qualify because while they try to tear
Well,
your character apart, they are so gentle with their little sisters.
yeah, it's true. They are
So
protective of their
gentle.
sisters.
And
Yeah.
I feel like they definitely would qualify for the list.
Yeah,
love it.
I guess they would.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think.
How about those? Oh no, not the gooses from Don't Starve Together. I mean,
No
they're
geese
cute. They're
ever.
cute
Oh,
and
they're
all, but
horrible.
No
The
geese ever.
moose goose. What are they called?
we
Moose
always
goose?
joke that the Canadian geese is
Horrible.
like all of Canada's anger, just like concentrated into a single bird. Yeah. Well, sounds like that is our extensive list of ghastly friendly beasts here on our special segment tonight on Gamestack Podcast. Our next segment, the Game Science segment. I love it. It's so cheesy. So I thought I would pull a case study about Animal Crossing's New Horizon because Shalene loves Animal Crossing. And this article was written in September of last year, September of last year, and published as a case study in human behavior and emerging technologies. And it talks about Animal Crossing New Horizons. So, we've got this pandemic going on and people following social distancing and quarantining and self-isolating at home. And, this isn't really changing all that much for the foreseeable future. One of the popular video games, Animal Crossing's New Horizons, successfully has managed to get everybody's attention. And has led us to explore the psychology behind video games in science. And so, this author goes on to say, in the last couple of months, many people have experienced a lot of sort of hardships during lockdown, and it's been very difficult. Obviously, fighting the pandemic is a serious concern, but also there have been creative ways in which people have been able to find ways to cope with that as well. And Animal Crossing's New Horizons, which they say a life simulation video game, brought unexpected magic to get the public attention and let us rethink the psychology behind the game itself. It is the fifth main series title in the Animal Crossing series and was developed by Nintendo, as we know. And it... in New Horizons, the player assumes the role of a customizable character who moves to a deserted island to build and expand their home by granting a loan, exploring their surroundings, and etc., etc. Does that kind of sum it up a bit, Shalene?
Pretty much, yeah. You just go into debt to a raccoon with possibly nefarious reasons.
See,
and
these are the details I wanted.
Yeah, and then you build a home and you enjoy your life with small anthropomorphic animals.
Yeah. And the game itself has received massive popularity all over the world, sold 5 million digital copies in its first month, breaking the console game record for most digital units sold in a single month, and becoming the best-selling game in the Animal Crossing series after 6 weeks with 13.4 million units sold, as according to Wikipedia. The psychology behind the game itself, a lot of critics have talked about its popularity being attributed to just right place, right time. But Con 2020 stated in the New York Times that Animal Crossing's success is partially attributed to its release during the COVID-19 pandemic. but that also it could not have come at a better time, and that we really just, you know, consider the game world as sort of the la land, the way to escape that has captivated the fantasies of people playing this game during the pandemic, which plays a really unexpected role that provides comfort and social connection to people in a time of isolation and struggle. And so, you know, they go on to talk about it's not hard to discover the two main psychological successes behind this phenomenon. The first one is it captures people's instinctive to escape from the realistic difficulties and their yearning to chase a peaceful and harmonious life. Which, I mean, if you're indebted to a nefarious raccoon, I don't know how harmonious that is. But it also satisfies people's unwillingness to be lonely and their deep inner desires for social interaction to get rid of that loneliness. They go on to talk about whether or not this dreamland is really an escape from the coronavirus or not. Players really do take on the role of, you know, the only human who lives on the island, surrounded by these cute little creatures. And, you know, in the game itself, there's no mountains of work and demanding bosses. You don't have to worry about, you know, deadlines and homework. And go ahead, Shalene.
That's the funny thing, though. Animal Crossing is extremely mundane. So while you may not have necessarily deadlines and pressure, and you are basically doing landscaping and cleaning your house and, you know, planting a garden and keeping things clean, doing some management. It's trying to raise money to afford nice things. It's very, very mundane things. It's the things that I hate doing in real life.
Well, and like Cephalon Kiwi says, that doesn't explain the obsession behind it. And the thing about it is that you don't have to worry about what's coming tomorrow. And the game is played at a relaxed pace. You choose what and when you want to do things on a given day. And there's no violence in it. There's no real negativity. I think even the color schemes in the game itself are very open and friendly and, you know, inviting and things like that. Very comforting. The other point of view for Animal Crossings is that it only provides a virtual world over the cloud, that allowing you to escape from the cruel reality temporarily, and eventually this escapism could not last long after all. That is what it says in this article. And the author goes on to say that this delicate relationship represents what they call a microcosm of psychological problems that people experience in real life. So I don't know. I don't know if I totally agree with that. That in another study of an online game or online gaming, the best predictor of high score for internet addiction was escapism, and had indicated that players use online games to avoid thinking about real life problems, and they often have the motivation to escape from real life problems, but may experience more negative outcomes in the long run. So, you know, while I think that maybe it could be perceived as a shelter, and I think it certainly may be. And drawing some connections on our earlier discussion about, you know, boomers and older demographics that are now playing video games, I think that the older demographic, as an age group, has found tremendous difficulty in coping through this pandemic. I think millennials and Gen Xers have been a little bit more malleable in terms of being able to adapt. But I think our older age groups, who are very social creatures, have had a lot of difficulty in doing that. So perhaps this might explain some of it in this newfound love for video games in that older group. Anyways, to conclude, you know, the author goes on to say that the pandemic has had really heavy impact on everybody. We find ways to sort of manage through these stress, but we need to be careful about that because, it isn't a replacement for our issues that we're facing in real life. And video games have always appeared to the public with a relatively negative image, but I like that she goes on to say that, they really do play an important role in our society now. And the pandemic has really brought that to light. So psychologically, still good in my books. Anyways, that's our game science segment. Rick, what have you been playing?
Okay. Well, I started back in on Red Dead Redemption 2. Because
Really?
I can't get away. It's a great game.
You got to play the role of a trapper. I'm telling you.
I started hunting. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm awful at it.
You'll get better. Don't worry.
But yeah, so I started playing that again, and I wanted to do hunting and stuff. So now I'm like going around trying to do the 3 perfect rabbit pelts.
It's so hard. It's so hard.
Yeah, it's a pain. So I'm just walking around with the bow. I have to go get the varmint rifle, but so I've been playing that. That started that. Fallen Order. I'm really far into Fallen Order, and I got like the new lightsaber skills and stuff like that, and like they fleshed out Seer's story a bit more. Shalene, are you ever going to finish the game? Can I spoil anything? I mean, the game's been out forever.
I'm going to finish the game. I have every intent of finishing this game. It is okay with me if you do some gentle spoilers.
All right. So when the game first starts out, Seer and I can't think of the old pilot's name, but they pick you up and rescue you, and there's something off about Seer.
Yes.
And you're like, I don't really trust this chick. Like something's fishy. She was a Jedi who tapped into. Where did you get to, Shalene? Like, do you remember where you left off at? What planet?
I want to say I was on Dathomir.
Okay. Did you get to Kashyyyk?
Pretty early.
Did you go to Kashyyyk?
No, I haven't been to Kashyyyk.
Okay, so did you go to Zepho?
Yes.
Okay, but okay. So I don't know if you find out that Seer did do something, and there's some stuff that she didn't tell you about that you do find out about. But I will say I ended up trusting her, that she's not gonna, because at first I thought she was like a double agent kind of thing, right? Like she wants to find this holocron to then kill all the kids. And I don't feel that way anymore. There's some stuff that came to light, and there's some trust there. And either she's really good at lying, or there's a trust there now.
I definitely had questions about her, but I never just outright didn't trust her. I didn't think she was trying to like kill the Force sensitive children or anything.
Well, like eventually you get to have a conversation with the Night Sister on Dathomir. Right.
I haven't gotten that far.
Yeah, but you've met her though, right? She's appeared and she sent like the brothers after you. Yeah. So eventually you get to have a conversation with her, and she's standing there with you and Seer, and you say something about finding the holocron, and she goes, "Are you sure that's a good idea?" And they're like, "Yeah, why wouldn't it be?" She's like, "Well, if nobody's been on that planet for decades, and nobody's ever found that vault, and you have to travel like across the universe and back 15 times to get this holocron, don't you think it's safe from the Empire?" And then you could tell like the way like Seer and Cal are looking at each other, like they never even thought of that. And I was like,
yeah,
man, I didn't even think of that either. Like the best, and I'm in my head thinking like, man, what should we do if we eventually find this holocron? The best thing to do would be to put a lightsaber through it. You know what I mean? Just destroy it.
Well, the idea though is to rebuild the Jedi Order.
I know, but like, I think the smarter play is to destroy it, so that way nobody knows who these Force sensitive children are.
I understand what you're saying, but that does not help you rebuild the Jedi Order.
I know, but at this point, it's so far gone, and we know what happens in the Fallout or in the Star Wars lore. It does not get rebuilt, so that's what makes me scared about the ending. How is this going to end? Like, what happens to Cal? What happens to Seer? We know that the last Jedi is Rey. So does Cal go by the way of Ahsoka? Like just goes off into hiding, or do they all die? I don't know. I'm really curious to see how this whole thing ends. But it gets to a point where you
My
feel like
interpretation was totally that the last Jedi was Luke.
really?
Yeah. That was totally my interpretation of that Rey was something new. That the Jedi Order died with Luke.
Cephalon
That's
Kiwi
true.
says, I thought the last Jedi was the guy who was the stormtrooper.
Actually, Shalene, I think you're right. I think you're right. I keep forgetting that Jedi is the religious order and not just a Force user.
Yes.
I keep associating like Jedi with like good guy Force users, but that's not the case. But yeah, you're right. So anyway, my whole point is I'm not quite sure what's going to happen to the end of the story, and I'm really curious and excited to find out. I've been playing on controller because it's just so much easier than mouse and keyboard.
Gosh, you're really making me want to dive back into this game.
Do it.
Oh
my gosh, just
yes,
do it.
but I have tall vampire lady waiting on my Xbox, Rick.
Oh. Did you like my meme that I sent you of the dude running in like a
yes, that
like,
was
oh,
so
chase
funny.
Me,
like,
me.
oh, you'll never. Oh,
he falls.
She's chasing
me. I've also been playing some Fallout 76 here and there. I built the second camp, and my whole idea was like, I found in the Cranberry Bog this cement ramp to nothing, and I built in such a way where that's the entrance. You have to walk up the ramp and open a door, and you go down a stairwell, and then the stairwell leads to a vault. And so you go into the vault, and I was like, oh man, I'll make a bar. But I didn't realize there's so much stuff you cannot build in the shelters still.
Yes.
You can't build the stage, and I don't know why. You can build the stage when it's like floating out of the floor, so it's like huge, but you can't sink it in the shelter floor. You can't put the sped up fermenter, because I was going to build like a bar and restaurant thing, right? Because that's what I do. And like there's you can't build the sink. You cannot build the sink. And
I hate that as well.
So it sounds like Fallout 76 building has not improved.
Well, on the surface it has, but this is in the shelters, and they treat both environments differently. And the way that the inventory system works is different with the shelters. It interacts differently with the shelters. So there's some things you can build in the shelters and some things you can't. And I didn't realize how much you couldn't. It is very frustrating because they don't like say what you can until you like, oh man, I want to put this in. I can't. So
I want one of those wicked cool trailers with the side windows that fan out in real life.
Yeah, those are neat.
I want one of those in real life, and I want to tow it behind my Mini.
So I've been playing some Fallout 76, trying to build a new shelter there and doing some gold here and there. But the biggest game, or the game that I've sunk the most time into, has been H3 VR, which is hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades.
Oh no!
And
oh no, I know where this is
going.
And
I love it. I love it. And I streamed it for the first time on Twitch yesterday, and the game mode that I like playing the most is easy peasy mode. So the difficulty is arcade, and I put on unlimited ammo so I can actually like not have to suck at it. But when I put it on like the standard like basic mode, I die every time because it gives me a shotgun, and I can't like, I just screw it up so bad. I'm not good enough yet to handle the reloading of most guns, so I'm still like just So the idea is So the idea is, vendors looking at
how many hours have you spent on this?
Too many. The idea is, so you're looking at a range, but there is a take and hold mode where you go around a course. It kind of reminds you of like the old school like Windows 98 screensaver mazes.
Very much, yeah.
And you have to fight you have to like secure these areas against hordes of hot dogs wearing military uniforms.
It's so cute. I didn't realize that they were wearing little uniforms and little helmets.
These little construction. Look at them.
So the funny thing is if you do the timeline ones, like today I did the Wild West one, they come in wearing like bowlers and vests and cowboy hats.
Are you kidding?
No, they do.
Oh, Rick, you've got to stream that for me. I want to see hot dogs and little cowboy hats.
Little hot dog bits all over the
Oh,
floor.
that's mustard. They bleed mustard. Um, but here's the thing. You watch these cowboy movies, right? And they're shooting out and John Wayne, they're shooting and whatever. You don't realize how hard it is to have a gunfight when you have to like fire 6 rounds and you miss 4 of them, and then you have to find some way to go eject the bullet, eject the bullet, eject the bullet. And like you have to do everything. So you have to eject the bullet, turn the cylinder, eject the bullet, turn the cylinder,
Right.
eject the bullet, turn the cylinder 6 times. And then you got to pull 6 bullets out and go load, turn the cylinder, load, turn the cylinder, load, turn the, and then close the thing, cock the gun. Like it's
You need a speed loader.
well,
Yeah,
like,
you
but
need a
some of the
loader.
some of the guns back then didn't have the revolver that popped out. There's no, that's how you reload them in 1876. And
Okay.
so like when you play like the time zones or like the time eras, those are the weapons you get. And so it's
Yeah.
just like bang, click, bang, click, bang, and then reload, 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 reload. It's just, and then you have a little derringer. It's so funny.
Oh no.
Oh, tell him about the giant pistol.
So yeah, there's a gun that I wanted to show the streamers what the minigun was like, because I kept saying I didn't want the minigun. And
Okay, let me show them. What do I minigun H3 VR?
huh?
What if
What's
we-
going on here?
I want to show them. How do we show them?
Oh no, I just was saying I was showing Shalene last night the minigun. And when I was looking through the support weapons, I saw this gun called the Calibri. Now,
Yeah.
vendor, a Calibri, see my hand?
Yeah.
A Calibri is this big in real life.
Okay.
It was a World War One. It was meant to be like a underground resistance pistol. It fired,
Right.
I think, like 2 millimeter bullets. They were really tiny.
Okay.
And they didn't work very well, the guns. Well, so I'm looking in the support weapons category. Support weapons are usually like LMGs or big machine guns.
Right.
And I'm like, why is a Calibri
Yeah.
in this category? So I click on it and spawn it, and this gun, like the size of a desk, goes clunk on the table.
And it's a handgun, but it's this big.
So I pick it up.
Why?
I-
Why? Okay. Continue.
Because they put meme guns in this game, or like cursed guns in this game.
Mhm.
And so I picked this up, and it takes up like half my screen. And then I spawn the magazine and put the bullets are like this big, and so like it's just this stupid giant big
It
Calibri.
was so funny.
I love this guy
It made
trying
me
to put
giggle
this
so much.
magazine in the basket. Like,
Oh, it's upside down.
Pops out, and then
So
Rick was like tossing these things in yesterday. It was fantastic.
yeah, you can hold a gun upside down, eject individual bullets into the magazine well, and you can close the chamber and one will go in. Like you can load individual bullets at a time. Like it's so realistic how you can interact with the firearms. I've turned
my
the
God.
corner. I've turned the corner with a pistol and hit the wall with the slide, the top of the slide of the pistol, and ejected around. Because like that's how you rack around in.
right.
I actually did that to the wall and went and I hear a bullet ding on the ground. I'm like,
Oh no.
oh crap. So, or I've went to reach for a gun and I accidentally pulled the magazine out while the gun is in my harness.
Yeah.
So then I pull the gun out and the magazine's gone.
Oh
Bang!
no.
Oh no! Just try to reload.
Like that would be me. Like yeah.
So it's really funny. And like if you fire the minigun with one hand, it flies out. But this game and playing Alex, I've decided that I'm saving up for the Steam what is it, the Vive?
Mhm.
HTC Vive?
No, the Steam one then. I can't
That
think of
is
what
the
it-
Vive.
yeah. That's I am buying that for certain.
That's the good
And
one.
I'm buying it because I have been bitten by the VR bug. I see the future and I
Well,
want
okay.
a
I don't
headset
know-
that doesn't pull my hair.
So before we went live, I had briefly mentioned these new Panasonic VR glasses, and I don't know if I could show them on here, but they're new and they're not out yet, but they look super flippin' cool. They're like tiny little glasses. Here, let me show you. This is what they look like.
Oh, neat.
They look so like
super
steampunk.
light, super small, and there's no release date for them yet. But this may be my gateway into my entrance into the VR world. because I play sim games. Can you imagine flying in Microsoft Flight Sim with VR glasses?
I'll tell you, flying in No Man's Sky in VR is actually really cool.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
I want all the things. I want it. And look how nice and comfy those would be. So
Yeah, dude, the mixed reality that I have will pull my hair active. Like it sucks.
yeah.
Like it'll just like. Do you ever get like a hair caught in like a zipper and like a sweater, in like a beard hair caught in? You know how bad
Yes.
that
Yeah.
hurts, and it's
Yeah.
just like,
It's
and it's like
constant.
instant anger. That's how it is around my head, and I hate it. But I really cannot wait to get this. I don't know when I'm gonna get it. Maybe for my birthday.
Like,
in
look how
August.
steampunk those are. I would wear those driving. Well, maybe not. That's a bad idea.
But yeah, so today I could not beat my meat at all. They kept beating me with all the guns.
Jeez.
Well, like when you play the World War II one, they give you bolt actions that holds 5 rounds, and you got to like do all this. It's just it's so difficult to do all that. But anyway, that's what I've been playing.
All right.
What about you, Vendor?
Well, I have picked up my cross Canada tour. As you guys know, I made my way from Vancouver, West Coast, all the way to East Coast. Made it across the north part, up through Goose Bay, across Hudson's Bay into the Northwest Territories to a little remote, most northern community called Tuktoyaktuk. That is where I sort of like put things down, and I never went back to it for like a month and a half. So I thought, you know what, this week I'm gonna pick up Microsoft Flight Sim, run the update because it's a 27 gigabyte update, and hop back into my little plane. So we took off from Tuktoyaktuk, and then we flew down to Fort Simpson, which is a military installation for the Canadian Armed Forces, which was kind of weird, landing in a little GA plane into a military base. I didn't realize that it was a military base, but it was interesting because the air traffic controller didn't actually tell me that I couldn't enter that space. So I just like flew in and landed, no problem. And then I flew from Fort Simpson to Whitehorse, which is located, I think, in the Northwest Territories or the Yukon. One of the two. Can't quite remember. But I flew into Whitehorse at sunset. And Whitehorse is this little town that is just hugged by mountains all around. And it was so beautiful, and it was real weather. I had real weather on, and there was like just a light dusting of clouds and this beautiful amber hue over the whole skyline as I was flying into the starlit Whitehorse town, and it was really cool. And then of course I spent like an hour that night in bed looking at Whitehorse vacation spots and like where to go hiking in Whitehorse, and I wonder how much an Airbnb is there. By the way, don't go. It's extremely expensive.
Wow.
It's like $3,500 minimum for like a
Ooh.
month rent in Whitehorse. As opposed to like you can go to Mexico and rent a beautiful mansion for like $1,500 for the month. Anyways, so yeah, that's been kind of cool. I've been exploring a lot. I do want to get into doing some more commercial flights, especially because I'm in vacation mode. I want to go on vacation so badly, and I can't, and it sucks, and it's terrible. So I hopped into ATS. Because I can drive through California in ATS. I can drive down the I-10 and through Phoenix and Carlsbad and Bakerfield and Redding and Nevada and Sedona and Flagstaff and all those wonderful places that I've been to, and it's so beautiful and reminiscent, and I love it. And New Mexico, which I have the DLC for now, which is super cool.
Come visit me.
I like how New Mexico in real life is considered international shipping, and then in video games it's DLC.
New Mexico is so beautiful.
Isn't it? Isn't it lovely? Come visit me.
It's so beautiful. Like, even your roads are beautiful.
Oh, they're not really, Bender. Like,
well, the overpasses are amazing.
Like, our roads, you can feel it. If you're driving, when you cross the state line, you can feel the moment that you cross the state line, because you're like, whoa, what? Wait, the road is smooth? What's happening? They're terrible. Terrible.
What are those tracked wheels? Like the tank wheels? What are they called? What's that?
Treads?
Treads?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Yeah, in Alberta, it's like your vehicle is equipped with treads because like, and you're just going down the road, and there's all these patches of asphalt that are like don't match, but they filled it in from the season before.
But the thing is, you have actual asphalt. In New Mexico, we've got layers of oil and gravel. We have very few roads that are actually paved.
Yeah.
Oil and gravel, like tar and chip.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, when it rains, that becomes like ice, man.
Yeah, we have a lot of that. Like a lot of our back roads are like that. It's just poured tar. But that's what they use to fill our potholes here. It's oil and tar. And it sucks because this time of year, now that it's getting nicer, my car just gets covered in little flecks of tar.
Right.
And you cannot get that stuff off.
Yeah, it's impossible to get it off.
WD-40 works.
Oh, lovely.
Takes it right off. Yeah.
I wish I had known that years ago.
Well,
What
now
else
you
do you
do.
need in the apocalypse other than WD-40 and duct tape?
Anyway, so I've been driving an ATS. It's been a lot of fun. Ever since my PC crashed, I've been really reluctant to dive back into games because I can't face the truth that I've lost a lot of my data.
Oh, ouch.
So ATS was one of them. So it was kind of cool to jump back into it. And I added some mods. So I added a traffic mod, which added all these cool cars. So it's not like these very generic like Ford Taurus and Dodge Ram. It's like this souped up like Subaru that's on the highway, or this like little crappy Crown Victoria that's like 48 years old, but grandma still drives it on the I-10 at 80 kilometers an hour, 30 miles per hour. Yeah, so ATS is fun. I'm probably gonna dive back into that soon, maybe this weekend. And then I've been doing a little bit of farming, of course, as well. So, but no new developments on that. What have you been up to, Shalene?
Well, let's see. Of course, I'm always playing a little bit of Fallout 76 and a little bit of Animal Crossing. 76, we've got a new season running. It's season 4 now, and I'm not very reliable about doing my homework this time. I feel like there's not enough new to motivate me to do that homework every day as reliably as I was. Rick, you didn't talk about the Resident Evil 7 DLC that we've played for Survival Horror Sunday.
Mr. Fisticuffs?
So I think we need to talk about that. We did the final Resident Evil 7 DLC, not the whole thing, the first half of it.
Yeah.
And it's called The End of Zoe. And you play as a member of the extended Baker family, who's Zoe's uncle. And he's trying to rescue her. And this guy is like a backwoods, bayou dwelling, alligator trapping fellow.
Oh yeah.
And when he encounters these horrible Resident Evil creatures, he's not scared of them. Nay. He's not afraid.
Nay.
And he also does not need.
Was that a John Panette reference?
No.
Oh.
I took it
Bailey
as one.
Sarian.
I thought it might have been
from YouTube.
Okay,
No.
anyways, continue. Sorry.
But he also does not need guns because he's got his fists, and they are lethal weapons. And so we went through this, and it's just, oh gosh, it's so different tonally from the main game of Resident Evil 7. Rolling through this, and Rick is just punching all of these horrible monsters to death, sneaking up behind them and just crushing their skulls with his hands. Like it's hard to be scared when you're someone who can do that.
Yeah, it's definitely not survival. I mean, it's survival horror for the enemies, not us.
Yes.
Like the first DLC, I likened it to like Rambo, where you're gunning through everything, and then this DLC is like a Jean-Claude Van Damme like flick where you're just punching everything, and at some points you're even punching through doors in this game.
Yes, it's ludicrous, and I
insane.
adore it.
It's so much fun.
It's so fun.
Now, the funny thing is, Shalene, and I'll kind of relate this back into what you've been up to. I did see an article today where they did confirm that because Resident Evil 7's main game was so terrifying for most people, they toned down the village.
Oh, really?
They did.
Interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
And that sucks.
Not for me, because I really want to play it, and I'm a big chicken, and I've been looking forward to this game. I've been watching the previews, um, and at first I thought I would be content to just do a survival horror Sunday and watch Rick play it, and I've been nagging him for weeks to play this game for survival horror Sunday. But I finally decided that I want to try and play it myself. I want to see if I can get through it myself. So I played the demo. I played the castle demo specifically. And I did put it on easy mode because I get real scared. I still got real scared, even on easy mode. But I did make it through the entire demo and I loved it. It's a wonderful, wonderful game.
Nice.
So I've got it downloaded on the Xbox right now. I'm looking forward to playing it this weekend.
Did you
Great.
play as Ethan in the demo?
Yes, you play as
Okay.
Ethan in that demo.
I thought it was like a pre.
That's a different one. That
Okay.
demo was not available for me.
Okay.
Yeah. But this one was just a little piece of the game. It was just a little piece of
Gotcha.
a little vertical slice that was
Gotcha.
available.
You know what I would
So-
love to watch? I would love to watch you and Rick do a playthrough of the council.
Oh my gosh, that would go so differently than you and me playing the council.
Yeah, like, you know how we talked about doing another playthrough of the council? I don't think I should be a part of that. I think Rick should be in there connecting all the
Is this
tacks
the
and
jelly
and the
thing?
yarn and
Yes. Royal jelly.
royal
Yeah.
jelly.
Amber. That one?
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought so.
Rick would hate that though.
Yeah, it's very-
he
it's
would
very
get so bored.
It's very soap opera-y.
Yes.
Oh, you saw how annoyed I got at the medium when it turned into like a drama-esque
Yes.
thing.
I really want It Takes Two to come down in price.
Mhm.
It looks absolutely fantastic. It has thousands and thousands of positive reviews.
I thought you were making a It Takes Two to Tango reference. You're
No.
like, it takes two to come down in price. And I was like, what?
So
I'm not that
confused.
clever. You overestimate
Oh,
my
jeez.
clever fiendishness.
Sorry,
Yeah.
we've interrupted Shalene's gameplay.
Yeah, sorry,
That's okay.
Shalene. Continue.
You guys always do. It's fine. I'm
well, we
used
get
to
so
it.
into what you're talking about.
Yes, that's
But
true.
I am very, very much looking forward to checking out Resident Evil Village. In the demo, there's a section where you go up against some of the daughters. There's, you get to see Lady Dimitrescu in the demo, but not really interact with her.
Mhm.
But you do go up against some of her daughters, and they are scary. They are utterly terrifying. And there's some very traditional Resident Evil style puzzles in there. So
Nice.
the environments are gorgeous in that castle. I've only seen the castle so far, but it's a beautiful castle. And if it wasn't for all the scary vampire ladies, I would totally love to live in that place. It's beautiful. Such a beautiful atmosphere. But yeah, quite enjoying that. Looking forward to checking out the main game this evening.
Oh, wow.
Still playing some Puyo Puyo Tetris and Undertale. I haven't had a ton of time this week to play video games though, so
Yeah.
that's it for me.
Nice.
Okie dokie.
Nice.
Well, hopefully you get some time to relax this weekend and play some games. Shalene.
Yeah, relax and play some Resident Evil.
Maybe play Animal Crossing or like
I mean, we all know I'm only going to be able to play Resident Evil in like 20-minute blocks. Like I'm going to play it on easy mode. I am not going to want to die a lot. I'm going to be playing this on easy mode because I panic. But I think I'll probably play it in short blocks, play for a little while and then go play some Animal Crossing or maybe watch a cartoon or something. Just smell a flower. Just
hug your mom. Just give her
Yes.
a nice hug. Yeah.
Walk into the kitchen, she's got her head in the flower bag. It's like, not that kind of flower.
Oh, dear.
Well, that's a show. Don't forget, if we've put you to sleep this evening, you can wake yourself up with some new Oak and Crow We Just Love coffee blend. You can find that at oakandcrow.com. $2 of every bag goes to the Children's Miracle Network. Thank you, Rick, for forming that relationship with the lovely folks over at Oak and Crow. And you guys love the coffee, hey?
It's delicious.
Yeah. So check that out. Other plugs and announcements. Next week, don't forget that Fallout show, another episode coming to your ear holes as well. Anything else you guys want to mention?
No.
Nope. Okay, moving along. Don't forget to send us an email, info@wejustlovegames.com. You can find us on Twitter at wejustlovegames, Shalene at Shalene L, Rick at Rick McVick, and myself at Vendertron N. We also are on the Facebooks, facebook.com/wejustlovegames, facebook.com/groups/wejustlovegames. If you scroll right down below us and you are listening live, you can connect into our Discord server. If you are listening after the fact, you can also always find the link on our Twitch page. We can also provide that on Twitter, etc., and other social media platforms. Don't forget, we live record every Friday, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, right here on twitch.tv/wejustlovegames. We have a YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and Spotify presence. If you listen on any one of those platforms, please like, subscribe, and review the show, and we will share your reviews with the rest of the community. We want to take a moment and thank you all for listening this evening and hope that you have a wonderful weekend. Any last words? Shalene?
I've got nothing, you guys. I was not expecting that.
Gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
Thank you for watching.